there's one last part to the Photoshop extra lesson, and it's about rasterizing layers. So what we need to do is we need to go to File and Open, and you need to be in your extra lesson folder and open Tigers. And what you should see is in your layers, you should have a black and white layer, a background, and you should have the little box which indicates the Smart Object. With the Smart Object, it means that you can actually work on it in a different Photoshop window, and then you can save it in that window and it'll make changes here. However, we want to edit this image right here, and to do that we actually have to make sure that this is rasterized. And rasterizing just means that it converts it to a flat layer, so that way you can paint on it or make other adjustments. So we actually want to paint in the U and the tiger with orange and the tiger tongue with red. So the first thing we do is click on our black and white layer, and we're going to we're going to right click and click on rasterize. Now make sure that when you click that you are clicking on the words, because remember you get different pop-up menus for the words versus the pictures. So you want to click on the words and click rasterize layer. So that got rid of the Smart Object box. So now we can actually paint on this object or this Photoshop file. So what we want to do is we want to click on our brush tool. Remember, it's right under the spot healing tool. Make sure it is the straight brush tool, not the history brush, the mixer brush. You will have more problems, so make sure you are on the brush tool. And let's go up to our options bar and change our size to 60. And let's go over to our color panel, and we want our color to be orange. So to do that, you're going to have 255 for the R, you're going to have 165 for the G, and 0 for the B. So now you can just click and you're going to start painting the lighter part of the U. And you probably want to do it in multiple steps, so that way if you make a mistake like I just did, you can undo that. Remember that every time you click your mouse again, it creates a part in your history panel, and you can only go back 20 steps. So make sure that you keep track of how much you do. So you're just going to kind of paint. It does not have to be perfect. We're just doing this to kind of get an idea of how to paint and rasterize layers. So we got this one. Okay, once you have the U painted, we're going to go up to our options bar, and we're actually going to change the size to 30. We're going to leave the color the same, or we're just going to start coloring in the tiger. You're going to do the lighter shades of gray. Like I said, it doesn't have to be perfect. If you are a perfectionist, you can use your selection tools to paint certain selections. But just for the purpose of this, we're just getting an idea of how to paint after we've rasterized a layer. all I'm going to do. I don't feel like doing all this extra little stuff because it would take changing my size of my brush several times, and I just don't feel like doing that right now. So now let's go into our color panel. We're going to change the G to 0. So now we have a red color, and go ahead and paint your tongue. Okay, the last little tip that I want to show you is for this painting, we really don't need the Ulysses tigers. We understand what it means by just having the U and the tiger logo as normal. So what we want to do is let's go up to our rectangular marquee tool, and we're going to select the Ulysses tigers, but we're going to try to get really close. And see how I missed part of the U right here. So I'm going to use my space bar and come over just a little bit. And then I'm going to select the rest of the Ulysses tigers. Make sure that you stay pretty tight to the Ulysses tigers. So what we're going to do is we're going to fill this area, but we don't want to just paint over it. We want it to actually blend in. So if we had an actual background, it would fill with that background. So what we want to do is let's go up to Edit, and we want to go with Fill. So it'll fill this selection right here, and it says for contents, use Content Aware, and you click OK. So it changed it to white because our background is white. I have found that Content Aware is very helpful for when you have pictures and you're trying to get just one little part out, say a power line out of a picture that you took that you really like, and it'll fill it with what the content is aware. Now let me undo this, and I want to show you what happens if you are not, if you do not stay close to the Ulysses. So if you come out here and go out like this, when you select it and you go Edit, Fill, Content Aware, it's going to pull from all of this, and notice that it fills with part of the tiger. You do not want that to happen. So that's why I say that when you do this, you need to make sure that you stay really close to the Ulysses tigers to get the background in the content part that we want. So now I'll go Edit, Fill again. We want it to Content Aware, and see how it gets rid of it. And there's no part of the Ulysses tigers in there. So now let's go up to File and Save As. You're going to go to your Assignments folder, and you're going to save it as Tigers. And then you can close, and you are done.